Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT Drama and some further development on the ShahZaM versus Sentinels stuff. ShahZaM giving his explanation for why he went so rogue. Zombs though backing his boys Shroud and also Sentinels, stating that it was completely wrong for ShahZaM to say what he said. And also ShahZaM, another piece of drama, discussing how Tarek and co didn't invite G2 to their tournament happening this weekend. Very much enjoyed your thoughts down below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Loads of great new support the last few days. Really do appreciate it. First of all though, we've got to talk about the qualifier that concluded last night, the first qualifier for challenges. First of all, Danny, actually formerly of Sentinels, is signed to a new team, so exciting stuff for him, of course, from the coaching perspective, you'd imagine. Speaking of coaches, 100 Thieves former head coach Sean Gares said that Scuba, who was on Knights at the time, and of course just qualified last night on the Oxygen esports team that lost to Disguised Toast team a couple of days ago, but nonetheless qualified last night. Scuba as a controller player has been so good, and Sean Gares says outright that they actually wanted him on 100 Thieves, hands down. He was the top of their list pretty much to sign him to 100 Thieves when they were making that roster rebuild. They eventually got Bang, of course, in the controller role, which worked out very well, but they were going to get Scuba, reckons he's an incredibly talented player, and Knight at the time just said, yeah, we're not doing that, lads, unlucky, you're never getting him, so they thought, alright, we'll get Bang instead, which has worked out incredibly well, but nonetheless, cool story for Scuba to have managed to make the qualification situation here work. And also this from Stewie, rematch Dark Ratio, let me cook, as of course, well, Stewie and co, the nation, they beat Dark Ratio the first time in the brackets. There is usually some sort of rematch curse that goes on here. It went game 3, but eventually they go down, as Stewie says, chefs are out the kitchen today. GG, well played Dark Ratio, well deserved spot. Had a lot of fun competing, our team is eliminated, but heads held high because they're not done yet. There is still another qualifier, and honestly, for what I thought Stewie's team, Wardell and co, was kind of like a clout team, there was some intention there, but it's kind of a bit of a clout team, let's be honest. Like, for them to do as well as they did, I was pretty impressed by, and hopefully they can qualify next time. But on the other side though was Will, of course, dropped from 100 Thieves not that long ago. Of course, they brought Cryo in instead. Good decision, but nonetheless, it's cool to see that it worked out for Will, because I was a bit concerned about his future. But as he says, 2-1 versus the nation, the first step into the plan for the year. Still got a lot to prove, baby steps. This then being the website, so this is the LCQ we'll see in a second. The open qualifier looks like this, so we saw that Breakthrough qualified a couple of days ago, so did DSG, and then last night Oxygen esports took down the Silk Road. Pretty comfortable series here in the end if we scroll up. Scuba and co, of course, won this. You know, the game 1 was pretty crazy, 14-12, and then Breeze was 13-1, just absolute demolition job, especially to do that on the offensive side is very rare and very impressive, so deserved qualification for them. I thought they'd honestly get a bit easier than they did in the end, but they got through in the lower bracket, and then Dark Ratio took down the nation 2-1, so I'm happy for, you know, Will and Zekro and these guys making it work, but yeah, Stewie, Wardell, Rossi, Braxton, Tig. It goes game 3. They lost the fracture 13-10 in the end. They had a nice lead on the first half, but it just wasn't to be. But they still will have a chance going forward. So now, if we scroll up here to the left-hand side, this is on VLR, by the way. A lot of you guys asked me what website this is. VLR.gg. We go to split 1. You'll find here the 10 teams now that have been confirmed. So FaZe, M80, you know, TSM, Shopify, Brilliant, all these guys. FaZe's team still hasn't been confirmed yet, but I guess it's coming soon. Then we've got Breakthrough with the Proto, Brook and Co. Disguised Toast team, of course. Oxygen esports, Dark Ratio. Those are the 4 teams that qualified so far, but there are still 2 more spots that will be determined via the last chance qualifier, which happens starting January the 17th here in just a few days time. And this is basically the same story, goes all the way until 2 teams will finally qualify, 1 from the upper side and I guess 1 from the lower side as well. And we know that Sinatra's team is playing here, and there's plenty of other players that are also getting involved, but also everyone that lost this time around will be competing again, such as the nation and all the other guys involved again. And just to kind of reiterate, these are the 10 teams that have been confirmed, and more than likely teams like you know, some of these guys will get signed by proper organizations over the coming days, including the teams that actually qualify down here as the final couple of spots. These were some of the top players as well, with Brook leading the lines from round of 32 onwards, Zeldris as well. So many different teams kind of represented here, but yeah, Will, Zekro also both appearing, Scuba as well, not far behind, and Gangster from DSG. Of course, they qualified pretty comfortably, so I'm kind of impressed here actually that there's only 1 DSG player on this list, despite the fact that they qualified without too much difficulty. Shows that it wasn't a one-man show or anything. It was a real good team effort over there at DSG. Hopefully, long may that continue. Now, let's talk about this weekend, another big tournament starting today, Saturday and Sunday, the Ludwig Tarek Invitational. This is a LAN event. It's absolutely fantastic. 4 teams are there in attendance, and these are the matches. Here we go. Today, at 10 a.m, probably Pacific time, T1 versus the Guard, then Sentinels TSN, baby. That's happening tonight. Fantastic. fantastic stuff on this afternoon for you guys in the US. And then the upper bracket, finals, lower brackets. People are complaining about best of threes. Maybe they should do it differently or change the format or whatever. But nonetheless, it's pretty good. And they've kind of rigged the bracket here to make it Sentinels versus TSM round 1, which I completely respect. Hopefully this goes well. And if that wasn't fully on screen, then on the right-hand side, the grand finals, there's the show match as well on Sunday. So pretty cool stuff. One team will win. I think that ShahZaM said that he reckons the guard will win if Sentinels don't. So Sen, of course, should be favourites here, I guess. I mean, T1 also should be good. But, you know, Sentinels should be the best team here. If they don't win, questions are going to be asked. But, you know, nonetheless, they are very shortly into their practice. And G2 apparently also wanted to attend, as we'll see ShahZaM say in a second. Also pretty cool stuff that these are the casters and observers. But Sean Gaze is back in the casting booth. So I've always missed it. You know, I loved it when he was casting and then, right, got rid of him, or, you know, there's some different stories there on exactly how it went down, but it's good to see that happening again. So let's talk about this ShahZaM Sentinels drama. If you guys missed it yesterday, the video was pretty crazy, to be honest, about ShahZaM versus, well, Rob Moore, the CEO of Sentinels. Effectively, his argument was that ShahZaM was apparently offered a spot in to stay on their team getting into franchising if he just made it work with Shroud, i.e. Shroud was terrible, it was only going to work from a content perspective anyway, so just do Sentinels a favour, and they would then be nice enough to ensure his spot was retained next year. So therefore he reckons that effectively after that didn't happen, he was lied to about this spot, and well, therefore ShahZaM says they fired shots, I then fired shots back. Now Zombs goes on a bit of a rant about this as well, and I do think for good reason, because Shroud like caught a massive stray here, to be honest, right? And Shroud was like, you know, what's going on? And if we look at the original set of tweets where you know, he basically says, please play with Shroud, we don't care if you win, just make it hype. Basically is saying that Shroud is, you know, just some sort of burger player, and he just rocked up. They nicked him from the ranked ladder or something down in gold, right? Not really giving any respect to who Shroud is as a player, especially because ShahZaM at the time was saying that, you know, Shroud's doing well. It's surprising that he's doing so well. Apparently was decent friends with Shroud, and then just kind of thrown him under the bus like this to say something that in Zombs' opinion isn't even necessarily true.
Yeah, I don't know why he did Shroud like that, dude. That's all I'll say, bro. I don't know what Shroud did. I would never do my dog like that. Well, it doesn't matter what way he meant it, bro. He literally typed it like Shroud was a noob or some shit. Like he was doing like charity work or something. It was Make-A-Wish for Shroud. They wanted to play with Shroud. They didn't have any other option. Every day after Shroud joined, like every day Shaz was like, bro, Shroud is surprising us in scrims so much, he's insane. He's on everyone in scrims. Like, but then he's complaining now or something. Like he implied that it was Shroud's fault. By saying that Shroud stuff about LCQ, he implied that it's Shroud's fault that they lost LCQ. Otherwise, what is the point of even typing that? Why are you mentioning Shroud if you're not blaming him? No, that I mean, it actually is messed up though, because like Shaz always talked like about Shroud like that they were good friends, and like dude, to like word it like that or like say that about someone who's like supposed to be your good friend is like actually fucked up. Like seriously, that's like not cool. Even if it was the truth, like bro, you don't fucking say that.
See that the Tarek Ludwig tournament for the teams? They didn't want to invite us, huh? Oh, I wish they invited us. I would have loved to play against them. Didn't even get invited. No. I'll take it from there. Look, they invited TSM in the guard. 2-1. Raise your hand that it takes just 16 months. Dude, I wish we got invited to that tournament. We would have an advantage because we've been practicing for like 2 months. So we're looking pretty solid. Okay, Joey Keys. Imagine. You think GDSG actually has a chance in this tourney? Like the main event? No, because we're in it. Not playing. Yeah, I think Sad, and if anyone else can win it, it's probably the guard. We played against all 4 of the teams playing. I love how Ascent, because of Chamber, got into like these crazy comps, triple initiator, whatever. And now it's gone back to like the OG comps. You saying the guard will win the tournament? I think Sentinels will. But if anyone else could, it's the guard. Both are probably...
So intrigued to your thoughts on that, right? ShahZaM has been like, he's been going hard with the drama, it's got to be said, over the last couple of weeks. And even that clip that I said at the end, or showed at the end, where ShahZaM talks about the fact that G2 weren't invited to the Tarek Ludwig Invitational, and I guess he wanted to be, and I guess he would have been very much appreciative of being able to play Sentinels and prove something to them on LAN. It's kind of unfortunate that we won't see Sen versus G2 this season, unless of course it happens next season if G2 win Ascension, which is possible. They've been looking good so far, but far from guarantees. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Of course, Zombs is going to back up his team, his organization, and also Shroud, but I do think he's got a fair point, right? The way ShahZaM said it, throwing Shroud under the bus in that sense was probably unnecessary, but at the same time, you know, ShahZaM feels like they did him dirty, Sentinels, so he's going to try and, you know, fire some shots back. Whether that's fully justified or not, I don't know. And there probably is some element of truth behind what ShahZaM is saying, just because dapr also said on stream, or on Twitter, sorry, last night, or a couple of nights ago, that he could also blow up Twitter with some pretty crazy information as well. But yeah, I thought that it was kind of difficult for Shroud, really, just because the way he described it, that like they basically had no hope of winning with Shroud, even though the fact that Shroud was still pretty good, and they were actually okay with Shroud, and Shroud individually, I thought, did a pretty respectable job for the team. ShahZaM seems to, you know, he seems to be taking shots at Sentinels at any way possible, and I think Zombs is right to kind of say, look, that was a bit uncalled for, especially for someone who is meant to call you a friend or anything, to throw them under the bus like that for reasons of just talking trash in your former organization when there's nothing really to be gained from it is arguably a little bit, you know, unnecessary and probably not the right thing to do in the circumstances. That at least was the argument that Zombs, I think, made relatively well. But yes, less than 24 hours away now is when Sentinels Valorant officially arrives. So they haven't been practicing for very long, but we're going to see how they get on here in this organizational tournament between the Guard, TSM, T1 and these guys. So, you know, Tarek promises a franchise spot if we win. Thankfully for them, they've already got one. So very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.